A launching of a website can be a really crucial part for a business, specifically if they have sort of 60% of their traffic coming from organic search. It's a really big consideration and a big topic at the moment. So I'm going to cover the why, the what, the when and the how. Sounds quite simple really, but first of all, it's important to consider why. Why is it important? Why is it crucial that we're talking about it? Why do people have site launches? The move to HTML5 or responsive mobile site design, that's typically one of the main reasons that people will want to re-evaluate their website. This is an example of an organic site launch when a client came to us after they'd launched their website. This was a low period for them. This wasn't a peak season, so they decided to launch their website in a low season, which makes a lot of sense. And their site launch here was in August. So you can see they decided to site launch when their traffic was at a lower point than it normally would be. And they site launched and their traffic just completely plummeted. They had no relaunch strategy. It was all about making sure that the look and the feel was there for their visitors. A CMS changeover, I've heard this quite a lot, where clients say, well, we're just changing to a new CMS. It's not a restructure, it's not a redesign. We're only changing our CMS. That can have implications with search because certain CMSs might have certain features that others don't have. Things like, you know, the way that your sitemaps are set up, your XML sitemaps, or it may be that there's now a new directory that's home on all of your URLs, and that actually can have quite big implications to search. If you even just add S onto the end of one of your URLs, that makes it a completely new page. Even though it's only got one new letter at the end, it's actually a completely new URL, and it needs to have a redirect strategy behind it. I'm going to go into redirect strategies a little bit more in a moment. Removing content. If you're not necessarily removing sections and pages, but you're just removing chunks of content, again, it's still crucial to have a look into your analytics and see what traffic you're receiving currently for that content, see what it's already ranking for and where visitors are coming from that page before you remove that content, and understand the implications of you doing that. And obviously integrating international. Sometimes if you wanted to integrate international into your site, it may mean that the UK part of your site now will sit within a UK subfolder or subdirectory, or however you decide to go about addressing international. But consider that that might mean that a lot of your URLs change, and so therefore again they're going to need a redirect strategy. Center your launch date. I think a common problem that we've seen in the past is where the launch date is at the end of the process of the strategy, and actually it should be in the center, because there will be things that occur after the launch that need to be resolved. So it's important that you put it in the center of the process. This is an example sitemap. So when you've started your planning process, a great thing for SEOs is that you have a layout of the site structure. This will really help them to understand which pages are going to be removed, which pages are going to be added where, and how they're going to be linked to. This is a great visual for SEO, your internal SEOs or any agencies that you work with, to have this before you start the build. And there's always things that need to be discussed, and there'll be lots that an SEO can notice from having this. And it's also great, I think, for the parts of the business to see what sort of pages under their responsibility are going to be sitting under which headings, and it throws up quite a few discussions. Working wireframes are great. This is actually a wireframe where you can see anything with red text actually clicks through to another wireframe, which actually they're just visuals, they're just mock-ups of the design, but it really helps, again, search to start to understand the layout. You can start to request the technical elements behind a website that you require, such as things like this here being the H1 tag. You can make sure that you're liaising with the developers to make sure that when they start building this into the test site, they're actually considering the right technical elements. You can start to visualize then also other discussion points like the search box at the top. Okay, so we need to make sure that the search box will be tracked in analytics correctly, and it starts to throw up lots of other discussion points. So really handy to not just have wireframes that are a PowerPoint presentation, but actually to build working prototypes. So 301 redirects. Can I just get a show of hands of anyone who knows what a 301 redirect is? Okay, so there's a couple, that's good. Okay, so a 301 redirect, I've got this awful way of explaining what a 301 redirect is, but bear with me. Imagine that you were moving house and you wanted to leave a forwarding address so that your letters get posted to your new address. It's quite a simple concept. It works exactly the same with search. If you move your URL or your website, you need to tell Google where you've moved to. You need to give them a forwarding address, and that is all a 301 redirect is. It's just saying, we used to be here, now we're over here, and it's that simple. So I've kind of got a bit of an example here. A user puts in a page request, and that page is no longer there. So they get 301 redirected with a new page request to the new location. And this is one of the highest priority parts of a site launch. This must be, for an SEO, at the top of the list. If a website launches without 301 redirects and the URL structure's changed, you will lose those positions that you'd built up. And that's obviously from the example that you saw before, generally where a lot of the problems occur. Your primary objective here really should be to retain your current visitors and your traffic, and obviously ideally to progress and grow that over the coming months. 9 times out of 10, the platform that you'll have built will be more SEO friendly, and it will allow for more SEO features to be implemented in the future.